welcome back to the Ryder Games YouTube channel. My name is Jamie from Ryder Games, and today we are going to be learning the first game in Gateway Island called Race on the River. Race on the River is a game for 2 to 6 players and will use the following mechanics: racing, auction, and simultaneous action selection. So without further ado, let's learn how to play Race on the River. It's a day of competition on this Gateway Island. The best Minution jockeys have been invited to take part in an incredible race riding colorful fish. To be successful, racers must manage their fish's stamina efficiently. Let's get started with setup. Now, Race on the River is going to use card 1 from the Gateway Island card box, and you're going to take that card and place it in the center of the table within reach of all players. Now, in this how to play, I am going to be using a 3-player game as an example, but the setup will not change based on player count. So this is going to be relevant for any player count that you use. The next thing that's going to happen is each player is going to choose their favorite color and pick up all of the wooden cubes of that color. So we'll have red, yellow, and white. Next, place the 6-sided die within reach of all players. And finally, every player is going to place one of their wooden cubes on the starting position. And that's the setup. Race on the River is played in a series of rounds, and each round consists of 3 phases: rolling the die, bidding, and advancing the jockeys. Let's take a look at each of those phases a little bit closer. Let's start with roll the die. Now, we recommend that the youngest player gets to roll the die. However, if you're feeling like you have a lot of energy, maybe you can race for it. Needless to say, choose a player to roll the 6-sided die. If you roll a 1, every player is going to retrieve one of their spent stamina cubes from earlier in the round. Now, if no stamina cubes have been spent yet, well, then you don't retrieve anything and the phase will end there. However, if you roll a 2 to 6, that is going to show you how many spaces your jockeys could potentially move in a later phase. The second phase is bidding, and in the bidding phase, players are going to take their stamina cubes into their hand and they are going to secretly make a bid by placing a number of cubes in their hand. Now, any cubes that you're not planning on bidding, keep in your other hand so people don't know what you have left or what you're bidding. Once everybody is ready, you're going to put your hands into the middle and everybody will reveal how many cubes they're bidding. Now, you can choose not to bid any cubes, but make sure that you still put your hand in the center to reveal nothing, and that way you're keeping everybody on their toes. Now, let's move on to phase 3, advancing jockeys. Let's say the example in front of us is what everybody bid in the previous bidding phase. The red player has bid 4 stamina cubes, the yellow player has bid 2 stamina cubes, and the white player has bid 1 stamina cube. Now, the red player has bid the most, meaning they have won the bid. So they get to move. Let's make it a little bit more interesting with the 4. They get to move the indicated number of spaces that was rolled on the die in the previous roll the die phase. So in this case, the red player would get to move 4 spaces, moving their cube 4 spaces. Then anybody else who has bid at least 1 cube is going to get to move their cube 1 space. So even though the yellow player has bid more cubes than the white player, they're only going to get to move 1 space, because they didn't win the bid. Now, in the case a player had bid 0 cubes, they would not get to advance their jockey, only if they've bid at least 1. If by chance there was a tie for the most number of cubes bid, as an example, if red and yellow both bid 4, then each of those players would get to move the designated spaces on the die that was rolled. Finally, let's talk about ending the game. The game is going to end when a jockey crosses the finish line, and whoever owns that jockey wins the game. Now, there is a case where multiple players could cross the finish line at the same time. If that happens, the winner will be whoever bid the most cubes during that last round. And if there's still a tie, well, then you share the victory and everybody high-fives. Well, maybe except for this guy. Now, there is an instance where the game may end with somebody not crossing the finish line at all, and that would happen if all stamina cubes have been discarded. If that happens, then the winner is going to be whichever jockey is the furthest along on the track. In the case of a tie, you're going to follow the same rules as a tie if a jockey crosses the finish line, meaning whoever had bid the most in the previous round will be the winner. And if there's still a tie, once again, we're high-fiving and everybody's the winner. Except for this guy. And that's Race on the River. Now, if you enjoyed this game and all of the mechanics that you've used, we'd love to recommend you a next game that you can try. And for Race on the River, that game is going to be Downforce from Restoration Games. In Downforce, players will have a hand of cards of various different colors. To start the game, you're going to be bidding on which car you own, and sometimes it could be multiple cars. Then you're going to race the cars by playing out cards from your hand, advancing all of the different color cars along the track. Throughout the game, you are going to be making bids on who you believe is going to win the race. And you get to do that multiple times until somebody crosses the finish line, and you continue to let all of the cars cross the finish line. Then, whoever has the most money at the end of the game, based on all of the bidding that they've done, wins. So this also uses that racing and bidding mechanic that you would have found in Race on the River. So if you enjoyed Race on the River, please feel free to check out Downforce from Restoration Games. Thank you so much for joining me here today to learn about Race on the River, the first game in Gateway Island. Now, if you're going to continue playing through Gateway Island and you'd like to learn how to play more of the games, I will make sure to link in the description below the playlist for all of the how to plays on the Gateway Island games. There's 21, so there's lots to learn and lots to explore. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those down in the comment section below, and we'll get to those as soon as we can. And we definitely recommend that you hop into the Van Ryder Games Discord channel so that you can have conversations with other Van Ryder Games fans, ask questions about board games, and ask questions about Gateway Island specifically. We'd love to have you there. But that is everything that we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and happy playing. Bye!